Sending over a million cold emails within the past 3 years. Here are my seven non negotiable rules for sending cold emails in 2026. And I highly advise you to follow these ones if you don't want to fail your cold emails. So, again, like these are the rules I have found that works over the years of sending cold emails. And every single one of these rules actually matters. So I want to start with something honest. Most cold email content out there tells you the same five things, just dressed up differently, and that's not what this is. I've been doing this for years, and I've sent cold email for over the past 3 years. And as I said, I've sent over millions. And I've seen campaign crush it, and I've seen campaigns built on solid logic fall completely flat. And usually, when I dig into why, it comes back to one of these seven things. So these aren't tips; these are rules. And miss one, and the whole system underperforms. So let's get into it. So the first one in, protect your main domain like it's your business because it really is. So the single most common mistake I see, especially from people just getting started, is sending cold emails from their main domain. And it's actually not from their domain, it's of course from the email accounts attached to that main domain. And the one their business actually runs on, they send invoices, client replies, proposals, all of it is going out from the same domain they're using to blast cold outreach. And that's just a huge mistake. And the problem with that is that Google and Microsoft are sophisticated. They see the sending patterns, they notice when reply rates drop below normal, they notice automations, and when enough of these signals stack up, they penalize the domain, not just your outreach, all of it. Just real emails start landing in spam too. And the fix is straightforward. You set up secondary sending domains, variations of your main domain, which I will show you down here. And so you're distributing the volume through multiple inboxes and multiple domains. And I use Sapmail for that. And it handles the domain setup, and the email inboxes is really easy to use. I will link down below for Sapmail so you can use it yourself if you're interested. So if your main domain is yourbrand.com and you send outreaches from getyourbrand.com or yourbrand.co, it could also be tryyourbrand.com, .co, etc. So if something burns because you're landing in spam because of X, Y, and Z, or people report you, then it's not going to hurt your main domain as it would be when you're actually doing it from your main domain. And you definitely don't want to hurt that because as I said before, like you're sending everything to your clients and stuff from your main domain. So it's just really, really important not to do that because you're really just gonna F off your whole business if you're doing that. Because if it gets flagged and if it gets burned, then you're screwed. So it's really important not to do that. Set up the secondary domains, set up multiple inboxes. So you have spread out the volume on multiple ones. And then it's just really important that you redirect the domains to your main domain. So you're making sure that it's still there once they're searching on, for example, getyourbrand.com, then they will still be redirected to your main website so they can see that you actually exist online. So that's a really key tip for you there. And number two, use tools you can actually rely on because there will be a lot of new tools coming up. So I see people trying to build serious outreach system on tools they picked because they were cheap or because someone in Facebook group recommended them last week or they saw it in the school group, whatever it is. And I get it, but you want to keep your costs down. And there's a version of Redger that costs you more than it saves. So it's really important that you remember that you can probably set up a good tech stack with tools that have not been tested and tried out before, which can set you down maybe like a $30 per month or something like that. And that is okay to do, but I would highly recommend you not to do that. Pick something that you can rely on that has been around for years, and that will fix your deliverability issues, poor inbox rotation, and it's just a lot of headache that you don't need to deal with when you're actually using something that is reliable. So my current stack, if I was about to start out right now, would be Sapmail for domains and inboxes. I would use Instantly for the sequences and sending, and then I would use A-Leads for sourcing and verifying my contacts. And I've tested a lot of tools over the years, and these are the one I keep coming back to, not because of affiliate deals or sponsorship, but because they're reliable and the output is consistent. They are really user friendly, really easy to use, and it doesn't cost a lot to set up. So you can get the basic packages on these three tools and you will be good to go. Because A-Leads do the lead scraping. They also verify all of your leads real time, so you don't need to buy a verification tool. Instantly handles all of the sending volume. They also warm up your inboxes that you're buying from Zapmail. And Zapmail is really cheap and really reliable when it comes to setting up your inboxes. It's much cheaper than just buying it directly from Google or Microsoft itself. So I highly recommend you to do that as well. And again, you're saving from day one, but it will be a mistake later on because you are just screwing up your whole system when not buying stuff that works. So verify your list every single time. That's going to be the next tip. So this one has no expectations. I don't care where your data come from or what provider you're told that you actually works. You verify the list before everything goes out. And this is where I use A-leads. So high bounce rates are one of the fastest way to tank your domain reputation. When mailbox providers see a pattern of emails bouncing, especially at a higher scale of volume, they treat it as a signal that they're doing something spammy. So your deliverability drops and your whole campaign suffers. Even the emails that would have landed fine normally will also start to landing spam, which is not good. So as I said, I use A-leads for both sourcing and verification because they do both. So I can go in and find out exactly who I'm looking for. And then once I'm exporting that file from A-leads, they're actually verifying all of the leads at real time. And they're updating the platform so frequently. So that will be every day, every week, and then the whole platform is actually updated once a month, which is just really, really key when it comes to sending cold emails or if you're doing cold calling, whatever you're doing. Having up to date and verified leads is the most important thing. But again, when it comes to bounce rate, please look at your bounces and see, okay, what is causing the bounce? Because it cannot always be due to the leads, it can also be due to your infrastructure. So it's really important to look at that as well. Let's see here. Valid contacts only, risking unverified addresses, remove those from the campaign and launches. So please verify your list before sending anything out. So if you're not using A-leads, please re-verify all of your leads in something like Million Verify, for example. So super, super important. So tip number 4 is targeting. So you need to stop sending one campaign to everyone because it's not going to work. Of course, in the beginning, you need to find out who to actually work with. I would definitely look at what do you have experience with, and does that come from like previous jobs? If you don't have anything related to B2B, then try to figure out like what are you interested in? Are you interested in software? Are you interested in marketing? Is there something that might trigger your interest? Then pick that because it will make it much more enjoyable. So when it comes to this, it's also important that you're not just pulling a large list and sending the same message to everyone. So you're not doing cold email, you're just like doing a big broadcast. You're not converting and you're not relying on like good sending patterns. So the reason segmentation matters isn't just about personalization or swapping out a first name. It's about relevance. So a CEO of a 10-person SaaS company and the VP of sales at a 200-person logistic firm have completely different contexts, pressures, and priorities. So the same message can really not work in both of these industries. They need to be tailored to who you're actually sending it to. And what I do is I break down the total addressable market, so that's the TAM, into a tight segment before I write a single word of copy. So I need to figure out who am I actually targeting, who do I want to send this email to, what does the people resonate with, and how is the messaging and the language in that specific industry. So if you're reaching out to SaaS, what is a client called? If you're reaching out to logistic firms, again, what is a client called? Is it called a user? Is it called a case? Is it called something else? So figuring out how do these people speak in this specific industry and how can I tailor my copywriting into that specific industry. So I'm making sure that I'm actually hitting the right person. When it comes to the job titles, of course, the tonality of the email will be a little bit different, but it's not going to be as important as you might think. So just make the email as relevant as possible to the person that you're reaching out to, but they just need to be aware of that you understand their problems and you know something about the market that they're actually in. And you need to remember that you don't need to know anything about your future clients. They will tell you all about that because that's where they are the professionals. So you are not that. So you need to be a professional in the space of reaching out to your market as the same thing as they are with their market. Really, really important note to remember. So you don't stressing yourself about knowing like who is my client's clients and how can I help them get the meetings and stuff like that, because they will help you do that. You just need the fundamentals in place in terms of copywriting, how to do that and how to do the targeting, because how you get clients for yourselves is the same thing you're going to do for your clients to get them clients. You're going to send cold emails. The only thing that is different is the offer that you send to and the people that you're sending it to. Other than that, you can still rely on the same way you're doing the cold emails and the way you're doing copywriting if you're sending to your own clients or your clients' clients, if that makes sense. But yeah, super, super important as well. And the fifth tip is copywriting. I touched a little bit about that as well. So you want to write like a human and get to the point. So a lot of people will spend way too much time on the copywriting. They will do like long novels that no one reads, like simple as that. So most cold emails fail in the first two sentences. So not because of the offer is bad, but because of writing makes it obvious it came from a template or AI prompt. Of course, the offer can also be not relevant, but in this case, you are probably using way too much AI and you are not tailoring your messaging. Straight facts. So people are not reading your email looking for a reason to reply. They're looking for a reason to delete it. And if they can actually see, okay, it says, I want to reach out or I reach out because, then they're actually just going to press delete and they're not going to read a single word, even though you have the best possible offer inside of that email. They're not going to spend time reading it. So, really important to stand out in the inbox. Super important note as well. So, you have a few seconds to get their attention, so you need to use them wisely. And what works is short, specific, and direct, in my opinion. So you tell them why you're reaching out, a real absurd reason, not a vague compliment about their company. So not say, hey, I can see that you have great results in this market, or congrats on doing good work on your website, or something generic. Like, don't do that. If you are giving them a compliment, use AI wisely and complimenting on something that they have done, maybe with a specific client or a previous case study. Mention that specific case study, not just say, oh, good luck on that last case study that you did. Don't do that. Stupid as well. So please, when you're giving a compliment, make it relevant. Super, super important. That's going to help a lot with your reply rate as well. So you tell them what you can do for them in one clear sentence, and you end up with a call to action that requires almost no commitment for them as well. So say yes to. So that could, for example, be sending over more information, send over a video explaining how you can fix your problem, all of that stuff. So you want to be under 100 words when you're doing your emails. In a normal tone, almost always outperforms formal. So write in the way you say to someone in an industry event and not the way that you write a proposal. So you're not writing them a specific offer. You're just talking to them like they are another person. It might be a colleague. So think about it as you are sending an email to a colleague. And then always remember to think about, okay, if I receive this email myself, would I actually respond to it? If the answer is no, then you should probably do a new one, because why would your clients care about that if you don't? So it's really, really important. So a little tip that you can do here, line one, why you're reaching out, specific and observe it. You could also use the compliment. And then what you do and the else, we only want to talk about the results that we can generate for these clients. And we are not saying, hey, I'm reaching out because, and why are you reaching out? And then you need a low friction CTA. So mind it for send a quick breakdown. Would you be open to a 30-minute discovery call? Don't do that as well, because it takes too much pressure on the clients. Like, why should they even give you 30 minutes of their time? You haven't built any trust yet. So super, super important to not do that in the first email. You can do that in the second email. So tip number six, give before you ask. So if your call to action is asking someone to give you 30 minutes of their time so you can pitch them your service, put yourself in their position for a second. As I said before, you haven't built any trust. So it's a stranger, no prior relationship, no established trust, and you're asking for half an hour. And that's a hard yes for almost nobody. So the emails that consistently get replies are the ones that lead with something valuable before asking for anything in return. So a specific info about their business, free audit, a short video you made for them specifically, something that shows you have done the work and that there's already something in it for them before they commit to a single minute of their time in terms of a call. So when you lower the barrier that low, sorry, when you lower the barrier that low, yes becomes easy. So again, the easier it is for the prospects to say yes, the better it is for you. So think about that when you're doing emails. And once they have engaged with the value of your offer, then the conversion to a call is a natural next step. Of course, you want to also think about like what is that call to action. So for example, if you're sending over a lead list, you need to think about what is the next step, because a lot of those people would not use that lead list as you would. So you need to think about like what's going to be the next step after that. So the easier you make it to say yes, the more people say yes. And that's like what it is all about. Getting as many yeses as possible to getting more information so you can actually book them in on calls, because then you have built trust. So tip number 7, when someone replies, you need to move fast and ask for the call. Of course, depending on your sequence and what you're actually doing. But this is actually where I see the most money left on the table. Someone runs a solid campaign, they get interested reply, and a lot of replies coming in, and it takes them 2 days to respond because they forget, they don't look at their inbox that often, and by the point the person has probably moved on. So the quicker you can respond to the prospects, the better. Of course, you can still get replies back even though you forgot an email or something like that, but be as quickly as possible. That's super, super important, and because they're interested like right now when they're responding to your email. So speed matters more than most people actually realize. So the faster you reply to an interested lead, the higher chance to actually booking the call is higher. So there's no magic formula here. It just comes down to being attentive and treating interested replies like valuable signals they actually are, because it's now they're interested. So be aware of that. And when you don't reply, ask for the call. So directly just ask for the call when you reply. Of course, it depends on again what your sequence is, but in that reply, you can say like, "Hey man, glad you like that." Or if again your call to action is sending more information, then say, "Here's the video. If you're interested, you can book a call on the link below." Something like that. Again, depending on what you're using. So if you're using a video tool, you can actually just put your calendar link there so they can book a call directly after watching that video. Super, super important as well. So send a calendar link with the email, or offer 2 3 specific times. One day I've replied interested. Again, that's after you've sent over your call to action, so your lead magnet. So when they respond to the lead magnet, then you're asking for the call. So it's not right away, because then you need to ask for the call in the first email, as I just advise you not to do. So most people just forget about who you are and what you're actually offering, like 2 minutes after they've replied, because it's not that fresh in their mind anymore. They have other things to do and they really don't care. So just need to assume that. And that's why, again, speed really, really matters. So, as I said, like most interested leads go cold, not because they've lost interest, but because no one made it easy for them to take the next step. And that's, again, also really, really important to know. So, reply within the hour where possible. So of course, if you can reply within 2 minutes, 2 seconds, do that. Maybe get on instantly. For example, you can get their app on your phone, so you can get a notification once you are getting a reply. So you can be quicker with your replies. So always include a direct ask for a call with a calendar link and proposal times. I again like to take the friction off the prospects. So when it comes to sending out your Calendly link, it can be too many steps for them to book a call. Also, if you have like pre-qualifying questions, then it's going to be even harder. So I just like to send them over 3 times within the next 2 to 3 days and say like, "Hey, can you do 9 p.m. Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday next week," or something like that. And of course, don't book them in 2 weeks later because they've forgotten all about your offer. So get them on the call as quickly as possible once you've built the trust. And then you just need to follow up across all channels like email, phone, LinkedIn. And it's just really, really important that you keep following up with people that have replied interested to your emails, because otherwise you will just lose a lot of money. Sometimes it takes a month, sometimes it takes 2 months. It doesn't really matter. So if you're not stopping following up with them until they said like yes to the call, or said like, "Please stop emailing me," or F off, really, really important as well. So these are 7 rules. All of them matter. So that's the full list. And I want to be straight with you, they aren't ranked by importance. All of these rules are important and they matter as much, each and every one. So the system only works when all the pieces are in place. So if you want to go deeper on any of this, the infrastructure setup, the copy, the full workflow, I got more content covering that on my page, and the link to all the system that I'm using is down below. So if something here was useful, please subscribe. I'll put a particular content on cold outreach and outbound sales. No fluff, no recycle advice. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you, guys.